All right. Thank you. That was a great intro. I'm so excited to be talking to you about this topic. This is near and dear to my heart. It's something I'm thinking a great deal about. So, as Kristen had mentioned, I really think we need to acknowledge that things have significantly changed. And when you think about what made a great brand even 10 years ago or 20 years ago, and what will make the great brands of today and the great brands of tomorrow, we are literally looking at a completely different ecosystem. She mentioned this statistic, which is 429 of the original Fortune 500 are no longer in business. This does not mean that they have pivoted. It does not mean they've changed course. It literally means they've dissolved. And you ask yourself, how can that be? They were titans. They had financial support and backing. They had ecosystems that had grown around them and communities that have literally defined where and what they buy through these companies. And yet they no longer exist. Now, you can look at this and be terrified, or you can look at this and say, every company that we work for has a better chance of growing and accelerating their growth than ever before. And that's the frame I take. Porch is my 7th startup. I'm fascinated by hypergrowth startups. They have different habits, they have different skills, they have different advantages, they have a lot of baggage and a lot of challenges. But if we take a lot of those and we use them in the right ways, we can actually do more in 2 or 3 or 4 years than some of the Fortune 500s could do in decades. And those are the sorts of things I'm going to talk about today. When we talk about the evolution of a brand, the entity itself, it actually has changed quite significantly. So originally we were talking in the realm of trademark. So it strictly spoke to ownership, which was a way of identifying this as mine. Then we moved on to this realm of the brand, something that was separate from myself. It existed over there, and we as the company existed here. And maybe once in a while, we'd come over here and we'd put on our brand hat and we'd think about it. And then the brand season would be over and we'd come back over here and we'd work on the product, or we'd work on the culture, we'd work on the infrastructure, the comm system. But this is where we live today, full-on brand. It's all around us. It's almost a completely diluted word at this point. People use it so much that they're like, what does it mean? I can honestly say that I think more about brand now than I did 15 years ago. And I don't know a marketer today that doesn't have brand as a bullet under their job description, or an entrepreneur today that doesn't think of brand as their responsibility. And that's because it is the sum of everything. It's your product, it's your culture, it's your team, it's the design and the experience, it's the story, the narrative, the message, the position, it's everything together. And when you think of it in that way, what is more important to spend your time on? And have you built the operational infrastructure behind it and around it to help it do well enough in such a competitive climate? When we think about Porch, I'm very proud of the brand we've built. I put up some numbers up there, mainly just to show what we've been able to do in a year and a half. We've stood up over 1 million homeowners. We have over 500 employees. We've taken 100 million in funding. We've solved a big problem in its infancy, and we're going to go at it with, all things swinging here. And the main point for us is that we want to build a brand that is worth building. We want to have impact on a global way. We're starting in the US. We've seen some good traction. But we made a choice early to invest in the brand. A year ago, they brought me in, and they said, what do we need to do to make sure that the brand is worthy of the hundreds and soon thousands of people we're going to have working at this company? And that's all I think about all day, obsessively, right here. And I'm going to talk through some of the stuff that we think through. So what makes a great brand? Most of you think of it in this realm, whether you're a marketer or not. There are 3 things that every great brand has. You have a great product. It has real value. You have a great team, you have culture, you have values, you have a mission statement that's worthy of your time. And then you have a community. At this point, you need a tribe behind you that's bought in to sell on your behalf. Word of mouth marketing, halo marketing, whatever you want to call it. You need people all in on what you're selling. These 3 things exist. Before, if you had these 3 things, you were the best brands. Now, if you don't have one of these, you're not even a brand. You aren't even relevant if you don't have these 3 assets. So this is the foundation. It's the starting point. If you're all sitting there, you're in a good place. And it's what we pile on top of that. It's where we go from there that will differentiate the great brands from the good brands. So what makes a brand stand out? What's the differentiating factor, the special something, the essence? I always kind of go like this when I talk about it. That's something, that intangible something that people are all after. They're real things. They're not anomalies. They're things that we can emulate and build on. Most of us think of this: loud, bright, expensive. We think that beautiful brand building is reserved for the very rich, for the big budgets. for the Fortune 100s. Not true. Fundamentally no longer true. If you think of the brands that you love on a day-to-day basis, the ones you're telling your friends and neighbors about, they're probably brands that have minimal budgets, but have done something really special. They've created a story that you have bought into, that you have now laced into your fiber that you're sharing on their behalf. And that is something that you can actually do, you can create. Whether you're a marketer or creator or maker, designer, you can build those experiences that are worth sharing. I think this is a great quote from Millward and Brown, driven by ever more demanding customers, pushed by emerging market competitors, and inspired by companies like Apple. Many businesses are rediscovering the power of creativity and design, increasing investment in innovation, and trying to better understand how brands drive their business. I want us all to think about that. I have been enlightened in the last day and a half with your commitment to innovation. I believe that, especially in this room, there's a true passion for innovation and design, whether it be magical, enchanting, delightful. Those are all things you need to stand out today, but you need to think of it and the experiences you create as part of a brand-building business, an operational business, not something you do once in a while, not something that one or two people do on your team, but something that every single one of you feels is a responsibility to the company you've committed to work for. And if you do that, it gets really special. So how do they do that? It fundamentally comes down to this one key reframe. This is so significant right now, which is we need to rethink the responsibility of a brand. We are in an era of reciprocity. We are now serving the customers we once spent so many years taking from. And the best brands in the world understand what it means to invest back, to be reciprocal, to serve. And it all comes down to how seriously do you take the responsibility that you've now accumulated. One of the key ways to rethink your responsibility is to present a value exchange beyond the product. So hopefully you all have great products. Hopefully you love what you sell. It could be a service, it could be a product. You might be an independent consultant, and this could be your product. But if you think through what more can you give outside of that product and focus more of your time on that and less of your time on the product, you will attract the right tribe. You will have a deeper value exchange with that customer. I brought up an example of Patagonia. It's a great outdoor clothing company. They've been around for about 70 years, incredibly competitive space, and they've done some really great things. They've only been growing up and to the right year over year. Of course, they sell great outdoor clothing. That was their product. That's what they had to do. That was expected. But what else they've done is amazing. They've committed to the Footprint Chronicles, which is their commitment to serve the ecosystem of the globe, which is their responsibility to not take from this globe, but to give back as well. So you can actually go and see where are their textile mills, where are their factories, where are their farms, what are they doing to make sure that they reduce their carbon footprint. They also have the Worn Wear initiative, which is where some people can take their clothing that they've used for a couple of years that they would normally throw away and give it to another outdoor enthusiast. They've actually empowered their community to give back to their community on their behalf. They've also done the 1% for the Planet initiative, where it's a sheer philanthropy play, which is all cause marketing. They spend as much time marketing those three initiatives, giving them prime real estate on their top nav, in their email communications, and their marketing on their social channels, as they ever would one sheer coat or one pair of boots. They have decided to commit to something greater than their product, and their community loves them for it. At this point, if you buy something from Patagonia, you buy into all of this, serving the globe, serving those less fortunate, serving the eco-responsibility of this world. Thinking about that is key, that all of us go back and say, what more do we have to give outside the product, and spend all of our time telling those stories, all of our design building those experiences. The second one, near and dear to my heart, is creating a rally point worthy of their time. It's ironic that this entire panel is exploring speed and time, because to me, time is everything. It's my 7th startup here at Porch, which means most of the time I'm just really tired. And I don't sleep a lot, as I'm sure many of you as creatives don't either. And I am so jazzed all the time because I spend time on the right things, on something that I truly believe is worthy of my day. The best companies in the world, the unicorns as we call them, or the companies that are just starting out that are gaining serious traction, have created rally points and missions that are worthy of all of our time. We might not love all their practices, we sure as heck don't love all their experiences and products, but we love what they stand for, and so we're giving them time to figure it out. The reciprocal empathy between a customer giving you time to figure out what your purpose is in the world is what gives brands the right time and the right momentum to do something really well. So if you look at LinkedIn, right, simplify, grow every day. They were all about hacking. They were all about building. They were all about helping all of us grow every day, learn and connect with others. You look at Facebook, give people the power to share. They're doing a lot of scary stuff on the data side. But you know what? I can't compete with the fact that they help me share my life with my father who lives 3,000 miles away from me. I love them for that. And my dad does too, as expressed by his hundreds and hundreds of comments and likes on my stuff. If you look at Airbnb, they've made the world our home. They've made traveling a beautiful, easy, approachable thing. Who here doesn't want to wander the world and learn from it? Airbnb made that possible. And Slack, I don't know how many of you are aware of Slack. Some maybe in the room, yeah, many of you. I mean, they are just crushing it. And they are in a competitive space, one that many other companies have failed to be able to do well in for years. And it's because they focus on helping the world be less busy. Have time to do the things you love. I can get behind all of these. And if I can get behind this, I can help these brands build whatever they have on their roadmap. And that's what we need customers to do for the best brands in the world. Why do you wake up every morning? If you ask yourself that honestly, and you put it out there into the world, and you put it at the heart of your marketing, the heart of your brand building, the heart of your product, the heart of your website, the heart of your email, the heart of everything, if you just put it out there, they will love you for it. That is what the best brands in the world are doing. And they're doing it aggressively. They've stopped selling features. They've started selling missions. At Porch, our mission is to help everyone love their home. I literally get chills. I'm in meetings. I get all frantic and crazy, like East Coast tan crazy on them, because I believe it so deeply. And this isn't just a commitment that we say or something we put on a wall. It's actually something we empower every team to do in their everyday action. So if a customer service person is on the phone with a homeowner and that homeowner needs to talk for 3 hours about the project that didn't go well because the home professional didn't show up, you take those 3 hours. You spend your whole day if you need to. Do whatever you need to do to make it work. Because to us, that is the most important thing, is that that homeowner loves their home. And you can see it throughout the community. The last part that I really want to talk about is the empowering of consumers. And so we've talked a lot about this in the last day and a half, which is giving back the rights that are theirs. So not taking, not hiding, and not stealing, but giving them back and respecting what is rightfully theirs. Seth Godin has a great quote about permission marketing, and I'll kind of jump to this bottom part, which is, customers now grant us the right to be in their day. It's through the phones, it's through their technology. They have the opportunity to shut us out at any time. Brand loyalty has never been more important. We work so hard to enter their world, their realm, their halo, and the second they decide we're no longer in there, we will never get back. The bar has been raised, and we have to think through that. A company that takes this very seriously is Beta Brand. They're out of Colorado. They're doing something pretty special. They're another retail brand, but they've started creating all of their clothing with the community, where the community actually submits ideas and votes, and they have a think tank of what should get even shown on the website and sold. They have a way for independent designers to submit ideas, so they've created an ecosystem of creativity. They have an amazing campaign called the Model Citizen Campaign, where they've actually decided they will never use an actual model. Instead, they will only take UGC photos of people wearing their brands, and they will, unphotoshopped and untouched, put those at the heart of their campaigns. Talk about handing over the keys to your community. Talk about empowering your customer to say and do exactly what they want to and tell you exactly what they need. This is serious commitment. This is like all-in commitment, and it's working out wonderfully for them. They have hundreds of thousands of community members that just come on their site and write stories about where they've been and what they're doing, rarely even mentioning the clothes, but they've now created a lifestyle that you can't ignore. What are you doing in your agencies, in your companies, in your service that is handing the keys over to the customer and getting out of their way? I now think of my job as completely removing myself and amplifying everything they need onto the world for them. I'm a non-participant at this point, and I think that's the way it should be. I think we need to rethink our position in their world. If we bring this full circle, so much has changed. And where we'll be in 10 more years, I have no idea. I don't. I wish I did. I think you guys actually, after the day and a half, know way more than I do. Drones and robots and things. But I do know that the only brands that will be around will be the ones that have something worth sharing with the world, and they have, in a respectable way, asked us to commit to that mission. And that could mean a whole lot of things for your marketing and your creatives. But what it comes down to is, what is your responsibility right now? And are you doing it well enough? Hopefully, I've given you guys some great things to think about. I do love talking about this, and I love the idea that we're raising the bar. I love the idea that we have a chance to do it better than it's ever been done before. If anyone has any questions, I put up my email, I put up my Twitter handle. Feel free to reach out. Thank you so much.
Joanna